Welcome to day 20 of our Ghost Host Halloween Countdown for 2025. We're counting down films with horror hosts in the cast somewhere. Yesterday we looked at Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, with great Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira, playing her signature role, Elvira, in the film. That's a fun one. All right, see what we got next. Okay, this next entry is one that's not actually a horror movie, but I included it for several reasons, primarily chief among them being the director made one of the greatest horror movies of all time, Psycho. I'm talking about, of course, Alfred Hitchcock, and the movie is Saboteur. Set in 1942 in Glendale, California, a fire breaks out in an airplane factory. Barry Kane, played by Robert Cummings, and his friend Ken rush to put it out. A worker named Fry hands them an extinguisher, which it turns out is filled with gasoline. Ken is engulfed in flames and dies. The police suspect Barry, who escapes, determined to track down Fry and prove his innocence. He hides out briefly in the home of a blind man and his daughter Patricia. She initially believes him to be guilty, but eventually comes to accept his story. The police are on a manhunt for Barry, who continues to search for Fry, accompanied by Patricia. Their search eventually leads them to an entire nest of foreign spies plotting, you guessed it, sabotage. This film was made in 1942, right after the United States' involvement in World War II. It naturally deals with themes of patriotism and culminates in a dramatic scene at the Statue of Liberty. It is directed by the great Alfred Hitchcock. Along the way to search for Fry, Patricia and Barry are picked up by a traveling circus. Among the sideshow performers in the troupe are a pair of Siamese twins. They are portrayed by Gene and Lynn Romer, real-life identical twins. Gene Romer would go on to become horror host Mona Lisa. Her horror host career had her bouncing across the country. She began her career in San Diego, California in 1963, hosting science fiction theater there on afternoons through 1971. She would then move to Los Angeles, California, where she hosted Fright Night, taking over for Sinister Seymour from 1972 to 73. She moved back to San Diego, California, and briefly hosted Mona Lisa's Creature Features before moving to St. Louis, Missouri, and hosting Mona's Midnight Madness for 1 year there, starting in 1973. Saboteur was Jean's first film role. She appeared in several other pictures after it with her sister, usually playing twins. Eventually, they both changed their names, Jean to Lisa Clark and Lynn to Laura Mason. Lynn would go on to appear in a number of genre films, including Queen of Outer Space and The Bowery Boys Meet the Monsters. So Saboteur, I really enjoyed this little film. I've seen it before. We watched it again. We've got an Alfred Hitchcock box set that has a lot of his early stuff in it. And of course, it has Saboteur in it. I love the horror host connection to this one. So some of you may say, well, it's not a horror movie, you shouldn't have put it in the countdown. Well, it has enough ties with Alfred Hitchcock being the director and also with Gene Romer, aka Lisa Clark, being one of the one of the twins in it, and the fact that it has that whole sideshow angle to it. That little segment over there where they get picked up, the couple gets picked up by the sideshow, traveling sideshow act, and the fact that our horror host in this is playing a Siamese twin, that's pretty cool. So yeah, it fits. All right, Saboteur, this is a fun little Hitchcock movie, an early one. Of course, it does have that whole patriotic tie to it, but it is a product of its time, being made in World War II. Like I said in the review, you got to understand that that's just part of what had to be in there in order to get some films made. But I'm going to give it 3.5 skulls. A lot of suspense in this one. It's a road movie. It takes place on the road, so it's fast paced, bam, 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 scene to scene to scene, and I think it's good. I think a lot of you out there would appreciate this film. Let me know if you've seen it, and if you like Saboteur. For early Hitchcock fans, definitely want to check this one out. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Tune back in tomorrow. I said week again. That's it for tonight. Did the same thing yesterday. Tune back in tomorrow. We'll keep this countdown going. Saboteur Hitchcock, Gangrene Out.
And San Diego's own Mistress of the Dark, Mona Lisa.
It's midnight. It's the moon, and it's me. Muna as in you-know-where. Mona Lisa, girl guide of the galaxies and heavenly hostess. At home and entertaining.